You are currently the only person in this conference.
इंग्लिश कर ले उसके बाद ही क्लास चालू है। ये देखो बच्चे सुनने लग गए। रुक जाओ डेस्कटॉप पे डाल दो तुम्हें फाइल। हाँ मैम। तब तक तुम कॉल अटेंड कर लो। एक सेकंड हम डालते हैं जी। हेलो। Good morning, everyone. So today we'll be starting with our first class of entrepreneurship skill development. Um, I hope everybody can hear me. Am I audible? Good. So I've seen that some of the students have written that they can hear me. So that's good enough. So my name is Dr. Rafia Rizvi, and I'll be taking the entrepreneurship skill development class for MCOM third sem. So let's begin. I would like to request everybody that whenever they have a question, they should write it in the comment box. And as and when I can discuss the questions and take up the queries, I'll discuss them. So we'll start with the first topic today, Unit 1, the entrepreneur, that is the definition. We'll start with the definition and move forward. So before getting into entrepreneurship skill development, we should first see what an entrepreneur has to perform or the process of entrepreneurship. There are three aspects that are involved or three steps involved in every entrepreneurship process. The first one is the entrepreneur who performs the activities or the or opens up or starts the business or organization. This person is responsible for performing the action or the process which is known as entrepreneurship. It is the act of fusion of capital, technology, and human talent. This person, on performing the act, creates an object or an entity known as the enterprise, which is the sole purpose of becoming an entrepreneur. So let's move on. Now we would discuss what an entrepreneur and a businessman is. As we have been hearing, you must have heard and discussed in the past years of your education that entrepreneur is a person who starts a new business, right? Now, starting a business is an activity that is performed even by a businessman, then why do we need two separate terms or two separate words for an entrepreneur? A businessman and an entrepreneur are two different things or are two different people. The sole difference lies in the purpose or in the intention of starting the business. When a businessman starts a business, they work on an already existing idea. As you can see in the slide, the person who follows the already existing idea or a framework or an existing pattern of business, that is a businessman. If a businessman introduces an innovative aspect to an existing business opportunity or a business model or an existing idea, that businessman becomes an entrepreneur. So we come to the definition that an entrepreneur is a creative person who introduces new ideas to run businesses. Okay. Now, this new or innovative idea does not necessarily have to be a different altogether idea or a different innovative process or a different product. Every entrepreneur, every businessman can be an entrepreneur if they introduce, you can say, a new business model, a new working pattern, an innovative use of raw material, an innovative um, supply chain, an innovative way of selling. Let's take up an example. Earlier, uh, if we um, were to sell clothes online or any product, if we traditionally talk about sales, the traditional way of selling any product is to go that the customer goes to the shop and purchases it. Somebody at some point of time thought about selling it with the comfort of sitting at home. Many a times we do not feel like going to the market and purchasing, and in the harsh weather we do not wish to go out. We want to sit in the comfort of our house and do the shopping. So to overcome these barriers, somebody at some point of time started online sales. Any product that can be sold offline can be sold online today, right? It was the same idea. Any business, it was the same idea that was applied, just the process of selling was innovative. So the person who introduced it become the entrepreneur. Okay. Similarly, if we talk about introduction of an innovative say raw material, we can take up the example of Classmate. Earlier, we all know what paper is made of. Paper is made from wood. Okay, so to make paper, we need to cut down a lot of trees, which is obviously harmful for the environment. So classmates started thinking about it, and they introduced a new raw material. They tried to go eco-friendly with it, and later on they switched from raw wood or fresh wood to sugarcane husks. When sugarcane juice is extracted in sugar factories from sugarcane, the cane that is left, the husk that is left, that is used by these industries to prepare new kind of paper. This was also entrepreneurship, as it was an innovative change in the already existing business model or already existing raw material. Okay. I hope everybody is following the example. Can you please comment and tell me? Has everybody followed up till here? Okay. So I can see few students are writing. Okay, good. If anybody has any queries at any point of time, they can message me and I'll be able to see the queries and I'll answer them accordingly. So moving on from the definition, we saw that how an entrepreneur is different from a businessman. Talking about the nature, we saw that every businessman follows a traditional nature of business, and an entrepreneur tries to introduce an innovative aspect to the already existing business idea. Okay, so they are innovative in nature, and businessmen are traditional in nature. They follow the old pattern of existing way of doing business. The traditional way, a businessman usually does not try to innovate or try to introduce anything new. The reason being, they wish to uh, they wish to have a goal that is profit oriented. Okay, so the main purpose of every business, be it entrepreneurship or a simple business, a traditional business, the sole main motive or purpose of every business is to earn profit. Every business sets a goal or a target or an aim to achieve, and that is somehow related to earning of profits. This is applicable both to a businessman as well as an entrepreneur. The only difference that lies in the type of goal that is set by an entrepreneur is that the customer oriented goals are more important to an entrepreneur. Now, customer oriented means any goal that leads to satisfaction of the customers. We do not sell any product that we feel is good. We sell a product which we feel that the customer wants to buy. Only then will we solve the purpose of actually selling a product. Now, every customer is different. Their needs and wants of every customer is different at different points of time. Even during the same season, if we talk about the recent example, that is the lockdown, you might be experiencing boredom a lot. Students at home, if one day you have had something special that your mother has prepared for you to eat, the other day again she offers you the same kind of food, you'll get bored. Okay, it may be possible that you may not be feeling like eating something so spicy or so something sweet. Okay, so during the same conditions also, a customer's wants and needs can change, and we as producers, we have to think like businessmen, we have to think like producers. So producers have to think like customers in order to keep on or keep introducing new products, new flavors, new features in their products. Every product, like for example, if we take biscuits, traditionally biscuits were the same kind of taste you'll get in every company. Okay, and there were not so many companies like Parle G. They made glucose biscuits, and now if you see Parle G was the glucose version of Parle biscuits, right? And now they have switched into chocolate chip, then cream biscuits, then salty ones. A lot of variation is there. This variation helps the producer to keep the customer attached to their brand. So this is an example of how an entrepreneur sets customer oriented goals. Okay, so a businessman sets profit oriented goals, and an entrepreneur is more focused towards the satisfaction of a customer. Okay, moving on, when we talk about profits and customer orientation, there is a high degree of risk involved in producing or doing something new. Okay, for example, if your mother cooks something, a new dish at home, she is a little skeptical or not a little unsure about how everybody is going to like that dish. Okay, not everybody likes it, not everybody hates it. It may be possible that some of the family members may like it and some of them may not like it. Okay, so there's always a risk involved. A businessman does not want to experiment. Okay, so they have a very low risk bearing capacity. They work on an already existing successful idea and do not take any risk, very minimum risk. Okay, and an entrepreneur is somebody who tries to do something new and is ready to take high risk. Okay, so the benefit of taking the high risk is results in high profits as well, but sometimes it can result in fails as well. Okay, so these are the differences between an entrepreneur and a businessman. Is there any questions on these concepts or this slide up till now? If there are any questions, please mention in the comment box. Okay, so good. So I've seen that a lot of students are saying that they do not have any questions. It's clear. So another thing that I want to mention is whenever we talk about entrepreneurship or any kind of um, business activity or business related subjects, it is very important that we explain every concept with an example. Okay, examples are important as it helps the teacher to understand how you are able to follow the concepts or not. Okay, so application of every concept only uh, becomes sure when you use examples to explain your point. So moving on to the definition of entrepreneurship. Till now we were discussing about entrepreneur, what an entrepreneur is, how is an entrepreneur different from a businessman. Okay. So next we come to the definition of entrepreneurship. Now there are lots and lots of definitions given by many experts in the past years, but we will extract the main points that they have mentioned and we'll discuss every point in detail. Let's start with risk bearing capacity. The most important function of an entrepreneur is to bear the risk. This is because since the beginning we are talking about introducing something new, innovative, like we talked about the sugarcane husks. There is always a risk that the raw material may not have turned out how they desired. Like when we try to make something new, it may be any craft project, anything. A lot of times when you do something new, there is a risk that it may not be successful, right? But there is a chance that it may be better than the already existing successful idea. So risk bearing capacity is very important, but it is also important to keep in mind that risk bearing is not just an activity that should be taken up blindly. Every entrepreneur takes up risks, but they take up a calculated risk, not just any type of risk. Okay, so blindly walking into something is not risk taking. Okay, risk bearing is when you calculate that this is the probability of success and then you take a risk. Okay, so calculated risk in risk bearing capacity is the most important. Okay, next we come to functions of organization and coordination. When we talk about business, coordination is a key element. Every aspect of business, every department of a business. Let's take an example that every business has say multiple departments. We can take the example that there's production department, there's finance department, there is the operations department, there is HR department, right? All these departments, if they function separately, like the finance department has nothing to do with the production department, and the sales department has nothing to do with the production department. If a business works in this kind of a scenario without any coordination or organization, they will not achieve the goal. Okay, say for example, the production capacity or the amount of budget assigned to the production is, say, 1 lakh, and if they are not able to properly coordinate these figures to the production department, they may underutilize the budget or overutilize the budget. They may exceed the budget limit, or they may waste the already available budget. This will result in problems. Okay, if they exceed the budget, obviously there will be issues that the finance is not available. If they underutilize it, they may suffer quality. Okay, the quality may not be as good as it could have been if they utilize the budget. Okay, so coordination is very important, and organization, every organization has to be coordinated within itself and from the outside entities as well. Now, outside entities would include, say, the customers, most importantly the customers. You can also include, say, the shareholders, the creditors, the suppliers, the raw material suppliers, any kind of entities. Okay, so there has to be coordination within and from outside the organization. Okay, next we talk about managerial skill. Now, every entrepreneur has to be a manager, but it is not necessary that every manager is an entrepreneur. Management skills are important because they will have to handle a lot of things while running the business. Say they'll have to manage the workforce, they'll have to manage the supply of raw material, they'll have to manage the finances. So management skills are crucial in running a successful business. Okay, we you may have studied in BCom, in principle of management. There are various skills involved in managerial skills. So all those skills have to be a part of the qualities or capacities of an entrepreneur. Only then we can look forward to successful entrepreneurship. Moving on, direction and control. Now, direction here refers to, say, let's take an example. You leave from college for your home. You already have a goal set that you have to reach your home. If you did not know where you want to reach, would you ever reach any place? It is not possible to move forward without having a target or an aim to move towards. Okay, so direction, every entrepreneur gives the organization, the employees, a direction to work towards. Okay, and they have to, he or she has to maintain control of the organization. The control does not mean that they have to be scared of the entrepreneur. They have to be aware that the entrepreneur is there when they need him or her. Okay, so direction and control helps the organization achieve the targets or the goals that they have set for themselves. Now, about the targets, we'll also be discussing the targets or the goal determination in the further topics in this unit. Okay, next we move on to innovative ability. Now, innovative ability, we have already talked about innovation. Now, in further chapters, we see what innovation and creativity is. So, can anybody tell me what creativity is in the comment section? If anybody wants to answer. I want to know what creativity means. Okay, creativity means, Nancy said, it's creating something new. Yes, right? Something new. Yes. Then what would innovation means? We discussed in the previous slides that every entrepreneur introduces something new or innovates, right? So there also we spoke about something new. So both of these mean that something new. But how can it be possible when there are two different terms, like we discussed with entrepreneur and businessman? They are also two separate terms, and they have the same meaning, but there is a slight aspect difference between both of them. So I want if anybody can discuss what is the difference between innovation and creativity. Okay, so Pallavi says something new which is more attractive to all people. Okay, good. Changes and innovation. Okay, so I think we'll take two more answers and then we'll move forward. See, innovation basically it also means bringing something new. Yes, creativity means to use old idea in a new way. Okay, doesn't innovation mean the same thing? Means presentation. Innovation means something new and creativity means presentation. Okay, so Sanjana is a little close to the idea that actually differentiates innovation and creativity. But she's, let's say creativity is a new idea. Okay, every person can be creative, having a new thought about the existing product, having a new concept of a new product, these would be creativity. Okay, but actually building that creative idea into an existing physical, tangible product is innovation. Okay, so innovation means when we, anybody who is creative can be innovative, but any innovation comes only when creative idea is turned into a physical, tangible product. Okay, so I hope everybody gets the difference. Innovation means to innovate an idea, obviously. So innovation is somebody who's creative, they have a new idea, but if they can turn it into an actual product which can be sold, that is innovation. Okay, next we move on to group level reactiveness. So group level reactiveness means, let's say for example, every organization has a lot of employees, right? These employees, yeah, these employees react in different ways in different situations. Okay, so the entire group of employees or workers or every entity that is associated with the business reacts in different situations in different ways. Okay, let's say if the entrepreneur brings about a change in the organization, say the timing of working, okay, the working hours. If the working hours are changed, some of the employees may like it, some may be against it, or they may retaliate that no, we cannot uh, come at this hour, or it is very inconvenient for me. So every person reacts in a different way, but the responsibility of an entrepreneur is to manage this reactiveness and turn it into the most positive possible. Okay, so they have to consider that the entire group has to be satisfied with every decision, every comment that is made, every change that is made in the organization. Okay, so group level reactiveness, the entrepreneur, before bringing up the changes, they have to consider that it is important to consider the entire group before bringing about the changes. Okay, next, capacity for high achievement. Now, achievement is a word that shows positivity. Okay? Every entrepreneur or every person who wants to be successful has to be an achiever. Okay, has to be achievement motivated. If we do not want to achieve anything, will we ever be able to do anything in our life? Every organization, every entrepreneur has to be motivated to achieve new heights, new targets, new opportunities. Only then will they take the entire organization and move in the uh, correct direction. We studied direction and control. So high achievement leads to the correct direction and control. So every entrepreneur needs to be achievement motivated and have capacity for high achievement. Should be motivated to work. Should be willing to do something new, something innovative. No matter how much effort it takes, they have to be achievement oriented. Okay. So here you have to discuss the term achievement oriented. Next, I would also suggest the students to have some kind of a notebook or pen with them so that they can note down or take bullet points of the examples of the points that we are discussing so that later on you can write them in your own words. Next, we come to create effectiveness. Now, effectiveness is also related to efficiency. Okay, efficiency and effectiveness are very close words. They are usually used synonymously to each other, but they are different. Okay, so effectiveness is the ultimate goal. Okay, efficiency makes effectiveness possible. Efficiency means um, say, you can say capacity, right? uh, if I want to be an efficient employee or a worker, I'll have to improve my capacities, my qualities, the type of work, the uh, various activities that I'm involved in, I'll have to work on them and increase my efficiency. Once I increase my efficiency and everyone in the organization increases their efficiency, only then will we be able to create effectiveness. Effectiveness means trying to do something and having the positive effect of it on the organization. Okay, so effectiveness is the ultimate goal which can be achieved through efficiency. Next, we come to allocate resources to opportunities. Now, opportunities can come in the most uncertain ways possible. Every negative situation can be an opportunity. Let's say we talk about the lockdown. Okay, a lot of businesses suffered miserably during the lockdown. Okay, so but some of the businesses, they tried to venture into new activities, into new products, into new ways of doing business. Okay, every restaurant got closed and they were out of business for so long, right? But how they overcome it is the most important part. They are now offering safety precautions. They are highlighting. If you open up an app of any delivery service, you'll see that they show you the most amount of, you can say, safety measures taken by them. They wear masks, they wear head covers, they use sanitizers in the entire kitchen, and the delivery service is also, they do not come in contact with the customer so that there is minimum contamination. Okay, so this we can consider that in every negative situation also there are opportunities for an entrepreneur. Okay. Now here the businessman would not take up this opportunity because it considers or it holds high risk. Okay. So here what we are talking about is to allocate resources to opportunities. Now allocation of resources. Resources are very scarce, they are limited. We have studied in economics that resources are limited, and out of the limited resources there are multiple uses of the resource, of the same resource. Let's talk about money. Money is also a resource, financial resource. So if we use up the entire budget, we divide it in equal parts and invest one part in each activity. Okay, let's say we have a lakh rupees and we divided it into four parts and invest 25,000 into uh, every activity in the business. Okay, so 25,000 for production, 25 for sales, 25 for HR, and 25 for, say, operations. Okay, now all these activities hold different importance in the organization. Okay, if we do not consider that which department or which process needs the most amount of financial resource, we will lag behind. Like in production requires the highest amount of financial resources. So 25,000 for production will be way less than required, but 25,000 for HR purposes or for say operations is way more than that is required. So we can extract the excess amount from where it is not required and reinvest it or reallocate it into opportunities or places which yield more benefit. Okay, so similarly, when we talk about opportunities, so at the same time the business or the organization is involved in various activities, so they have to allocate different amount of resources to different opportunities depending on the benefits or the results of it. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow as the time of the class is ending. I quickly want to take up any questions. If anybody has any doubts in what we covered today, kindly ask in the comment box. And we'll continue the rest of the three points that are left. We'll take up tomorrow. We have a class tomorrow and day after tomorrow as well. We'll continue with this class. Okay, so I assume it was very clear. Okay, so for tomorrow, I want all the students to prepare a write-up on the points, these definition points that we have written, and show it to me tomorrow when they can mail it to me. I'll write my email ID in the comment box and they can mail it to me. Okay, so this would be a small sort of home assignment as everybody is at home and they'll be free and they'll be able to utilize the time. So kindly write a description, two lines for each point, and just describe it using your own examples, and you can mail it to me. I've written my email ID in the comment section, and you can mail me the response. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll continue tomorrow again. Okay, thank you guys.